about yourself. What congregation?
We go to Mount Riverview.
Uh-huh.
I'm married to Alison. I'm 47. We've got 3 children. Miriam's 3, Lauren's 8, and Philip's 11.
And what do you do?
I'm a teacher at TAFE High School.
You've had a bit of an incident this year. A lovely scar on your chin to show for it.
Yeah, goes from here all the way down there and then up behind my ear. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did they cut out there?
I had a sarcoma, which is a rare type of cancer, and needed to be removed. In the end, they defined it as 80 to 90% chance of success. So I guess that's a pretty good chance of living. But what made it challenging was that in the time leading up to that final discussion, there were many times when I thought that I had very little chance of getting through alive, or that even if they did operate afterwards, there was not much long-term chance of living. When the surgeon took the lump out, he came to me afterwards and he said it was 0.4 of a millimetre from the base of my brain. 0.4 of 1 millimetre doesn't leave any room for mucking around. So if it was any closer, they wouldn't have been able to operate.
What's happened since then?
Yeah. What's happened since then is we've all been very happy and amazed at the surgeon himself just was very amazed at how I pulled through. Since then, I've had radiation treatment.
And what's that experience been like?
It's pretty not as bad as I thought. I've had it before, 23 years ago, but you lose your sense of taste totally. Saliva dries up, so eating becomes a bit tricky. I've had headaches in the back of my head because they've been radiating my head.
You've had to take some fairly strong...
Yeah, and I've been on morphine and other painkillers, yeah.
And other side effects, are there some that may come up?
Yeah. The biggest risks, I guess, are that there might be some brain damage, and they've defined the most probable thing there is memory loss, and that'll just become apparent over the next year. They're almost certain I'll lose my hearing in my right ear.
And from here on then, you went through the roller coaster of expectations. Yeah. Where's the roller coaster at now?
I think the roller coaster's sort of, the car's gone off the end of the roller coaster and I'm currently flying through the air and I don't know when I'll land. But it's a pleasant ride at the moment because there's no appointments with doctors for the next 4 or 5 weeks. I feel like I'm not being medicalised at the moment. Long term, they'll just keep an eye on me. They'll occasionally scan me to see if the cancer's come back. If it comes back, I think there's very little they can do. The prospects in that case would not be good.
Recently in church we heard from Psalm 34, and the psalmist says, "The righteous cry out and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles." Yeah. How do you reflect on a passage like that in your experience?
Yeah. Well, I've been very encouraged because I found that I can rely on God. I found that I've come to a situation where there's nothing else that you can depend on. And so I've just sought God and He's delivered. And it's hard to put my finger on how that's happened, except that Scripture has reassured me.
So what particular things have you been reassured about?
Well, one passage that I never used to really like before was in Hebrews 12, where it talks about God disciplining His children. I always mentally accepted that, but it's never sat with me comfortably. because it raises the idea that God might send you some trouble in order to refine you or build your faith, and you naturally react by thinking, well, why can't I just be left alone to sort of build up my own faith? Does God need to give me something difficult? But coming out the other side, like being in a situation where I faced something that was very very trying, and being in hospital for a couple of weeks and struggling through that, I found it really encouraging because it gave meaning to what I was going through. It let me think that it wasn't meaningless. This was something that God was using to build my faith in him. And I could see that my faith was being built up.
So, David, what was your reaction to thinking that you could die?
The thing that really surprised me, the thing I want to emphasise is this was not the natural way I would react. When I first had a very strong feeling that the evidence was piling up, this tumour's growing very quickly, we've looked at some things on the internet, the chances are not very good. There was one afternoon when the kids were out at the neighbours playing. I walked outside and the sun was setting, and I just stood in the front yard and I just looked at how beautiful everything was, and I was overwhelmed with a sense of gratitude to God for the life that I had lived. And I just felt, okay, I'm 47, maybe I wanted to live or expected to live to 87 or something. And I felt this, it's hard to explain, but I was just so proud, glad, happy, a sense of loyalty to God, I guess, that overwhelmed me. And I felt like if I go now, and I at that time I strongly suspected that I would, it doesn't matter that I'm going at 47. It doesn't matter that I haven't done all my dreams of, writing a book or doing this with your career or seeing these places or even seeing the kids grow up. It doesn't matter because life is so short, and it just, a sense of how long and how fantastic heaven was overwhelmed me, and that God was looking after me. And I was crying like I sort of am now, but I was happy. I was absolutely thrilled. And if anything, there was just a little sense of guilt as to, I've got to be sensitive to the people around me. I felt funny going to Alison and sort of trying to communicate how I had a sense of a thrill at this prospect of going to be with Jesus. But Alison was really good. I knew that it wouldn't be easy for her and that she would miss me. But she understood where I was coming from.
You said life is short.
Yeah.
What are you thinking of when you say that?
I guess God's time scale, of eternity. We have no idea. We have no ability to understand how long that is, or how fulfilling that will be. And as Paul says in Romans, he says something like, I consider our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed. And he doesn't say, our present sufferings are really small compared to what, or he says they're not even worth comparing. Whatever troubles you've been through, it's not even worth trying to put that up against what is in store for us, and trying to weigh up, are we going to come out head or not. It's just so stupid to think of that. And, if Jesus is coming back now, you don't say, oh, hang on a minute, there's just some things I'd like to finish here. If you have that view, you've got no conception of what he's got in store for you.
So if you could go back a few months, knowing what you've been through now and imagining that that's going to happen to you, and you had the choice, go through what you've been through or plain sailing, what would you choose?
Well, I don't know if I would have been mature enough to choose the option that I've got, but I know that would be the right choice. And I look back and I'm glad that I've actually been through this, because it's strengthened my faith. It's given me so much peace. I mean, it sounds bizarre to say, but I've got so much more peace with God now.